Your sound worn out. Bad day,
Not really, sir.
but
Um, just the a bit tired, sir.
I can't hear it. Anybody else tired?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Not sure yet. All right, I won't be long today. Hopefully.
Sir, you got everything sorted out that you were planning on getting sorted out, sir.
Um, the main thing I was planning to get started out was to get the program online, and I did. That's the most important thing. By next week, I'll give you the PowerPoints.
All right, beautiful, sir.
Yeah, so we should be okay today online. Okay, organization, structure, and effectiveness. So that's where we are. An organization is a cooperative social system of two or more people with a common purpose. It says two or more people, but generally more than two people in a company. So you tend to think of it as more than that, but two is the minimum, right? Common characteristics of organization: coordination of effort multiplying individual contribution to achieve results greater than those possible by individuals working alone. You don't like to see individuals working alone unless you're into art. Okay. Common goal or purpose: having to focus to strive for something of mutual interest. Division of labor: dividing tasks into specialized jobs that use human resources effectively, efficiently. Hierarchy of authority: using a chain of command that control and direct the actions of others. So a big part of the organization is people working with each other in some kind of chain, so you get more work done out of fewer people. Organization charts are visual display of an organization's um, position, lines of authority. It helps when you can set out your company and put the divisions of labor on paper so that everybody follows it, or at least everybody is aware of everything. That's a very common excuse. Well, I wasn't aware. Well, something happened and you weren't there, so get to it. Horizontal of the vertical and horizontal dimensions. Vertical hierarchy establishes a chain of command up and down. Um, the horizontal specialization denotes the division of labor, left to right. Line and staff position. Line managers make decisions and staff personnel provide advice and support. Provide advice. Think about that one a little bit. Because normally it sounds like people are satisfied in a company that some people just work and the other people think. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Don't fall asleep on me. You know?
Never, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. I need to hear your voice now and then, you know? So I know one class fell asleep. It wasn't this one. Totally
All right.
asleep.
All right, sir.
I have you off for that just as well. Anyway, line and staff position. Line managers make up decisions and staff personnel provide advice and support. So it's not some people working and some people doing. Everybody is working. Some people are in charge, but that doesn't mean they can't listen to what's going on. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Here's an organization chart. On top, Mr. President. And these are all the different areas below which he is responsible for. He's not in charge of everything, but he's responsible. Somebody is there as legal counsel. Does mean that the president has to be the one on legal counsel call, but it means that whenever a call has to do with the company, he is very much aware and he can defend himself. Make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes,
And then
sir.
you have the different headings in this particular one. Then director of research and development, director of marketing, director of manufacturing, finance, accounting, human resources. And most organizations have similar kind of a structure. Not necessarily the company can run with a different structure to fit the corporation, but this is a typical one. Who is in this position?
CEO.
No, but the CEO would have been in the straight line going down. The straight line going down is direct responsibility. And the dotted lines going to the side are what?
Owners.
Sir, consultant.
No.
Shareholders.
Consultant.
Shareholders, sir.
Shareholders, not really. Because shareholders are sometimes not even involved in the company. Right? But I like what you're thinking. If you look at the people, you will see that the president is up there and the president has his advisors, legal counsel. Notice that legal counsel does not go straight down into the organization chart, right?
Yes, sir.
Strategic planning also doesn't go straight down, but they are way up there with the president. Yeah? The yellow one now with the dot. Why did I put not dots but question mark? Why did I put question mark there?
Sir, because you want us to figure out who might that be, who might fall directly under the supervision of the president, but is not in any way related to the general operations as it relates to the directors.
Okay. But why am I picking out this yellow person? And the answer is the same thing that you just said a while ago. It's a big problem in industry. This question mark person finds themselves way above legal counsel, above all of those guys, right? And notice what? Nobody reports to them. And they only report to the president. So, are they powerful or not?
Powerful.
Sir,
Go on. Let me hear you.
not necessarily, sir.
Yeah? Why not?
Well, sir, I'm just thinking because I don't really know. I don't really know. But would that be somebody like maybe the secretary for the president or somebody like that?
Exactly like that.
Okay, so then it doesn't necessarily mean that they are I can't remember the word that they used a while ago.
All right.
Powerful.
But if you look on the chart in front of you, where is that person pitched?
Right under the president.
The only person that answers to the president is that person. Anyway, that's the point I'm trying to make here. Sometimes we build these charts and put these people. Now, with all due respect to that person is not necessarily educated, not necessarily anything. Could be a family member why you got that position. Could be any kind of reasons. The person could be good, could be coming up the system. Um, I've never seen a director of manufacturing move to be personal secretary to the president. I've never seen that kind of move, but not impossible. But you
Yeah,
cannot
yes,
see
sir.
the
But
problem.
wouldn't the pay be different? I suspect maybe the directors are still making more than the personal assistant or the secretary, sir.
I
That is
laugh
what I
because
presume, sir.
Good
you
question.
exactly because it depends on who the person is to the president. First of all, if you understand what I mean, if it's a private company and this person is one of the sisters of that company, blah blah, whatever, you can see the difference in how that person might operate if they are just the president's assistant. You know, whose responsibilities to answer to these special calls, get minutes ready, that kind of thing. So you find that when a company gets kind of big, you have the president's assistant and then still have a president's secretary or something, not necessarily just sitting alone. Okay. But the important thing is that presidents or whoever, CEOs, they can twist and turn these people in positions inside. Not even on paper, you find that twist. Who is in charge of what, who's responsible, and so on. But usually, that person out there, called a personal assistant, not necessarily a secretary, but a personal assistant, is usually extremely powerful, very powerful. I've seen people in my time who have worked as personal assistant. They are not even comparing salaries. Kind of really powerful. And yet you'll find a company with a personal assistant that's a secretary. So it's one of those loose ends that sometimes somebody needs to take call of and either not waste money on a powerful person in a menial job, for example. Yeah? If that person is in there working in a powerful position, right? Then you're gonna have to pay that person. So you really have to have the job speaking up for what this person can do. Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
Don't tell me some people fall asleep already. You know?
Yes, sir.
Sir,
Yes, sir.
we're here, sir. We're here.
I'm very worried about that because it happened to me before. All right. I just have a few different um, of these charts so you can see what's going on with them. These I pulled from a book, so it's not something that I picked out of a hat. And you can see where the personal assistant is. What is key is that these personal assistants, they're not usually in the main line. They are doing a different level of work, and therefore, if you notice where this one is, personal assistant comes before everybody else except the president. And if you think that's a joke, you must see how some of them operate. Nothing happens unless they know it, right? So
But, sir, them
most
normally have the ear of the president, sir.
the ear,
So,
yeah,
yeah, the
y-
president here. So,
yeah,
so
and that's a
yeah,
powerful position.
yeah. So some of the time them have to know exactly what's going on the ground. You know,
But sometimes
make it
they are the ones actually running the company, you know,
not at the time, sir. That's
not
right.
on paper. But it's important if you have a company and you're running a company, it is very important how these people are organized. First and foremost, this personal assistant. because the job might not sound, it says assistant, it might not sound that great. But once you go in there and realize that the president not going to sign that paper until you read it, you start to think twice, eh? All right. The other big people in the company are general manager, finance manager. Now I'm going to pause with Mr. Finance Manager here because what this is doing is taking the finance manager out of the mainstream. Why? Anybody?
Because what they have to deal with is separate and apart from the daily like runnings of the company. Because I see here it
You
has
see what?
I see here that it's the general manager is controls kind of the site engineer, testing engineer. That sounds like the main activities of the company, sir, versus the
Sir,
financial part aspect of it, which is monetary.
Could be, yeah.
sir, I think basically is to just separate the
Wait,
money
wait.
part. Yeah, so
Okay.
separate the
Come
money
back to
part of
that.
the thing, sir.
Separate the money part.
Yeah, basically from the regular day-to-day work. So you have somebody monitoring the money there. You get my say a body for the
Why?
money.
But sir,
Why?
Because not to
I think
Go
if it
ahead.
was a financial institution, it would have set up different.
Fair enough. That's possible. But the thing is, and I'm looking over my shoulder, but I went through years with a situation like that, what I have in front of me here, with a finance manager that was not even tied to anybody. If you notice, the finance is not tied to the rest of the company. You ask for funds when you want funds. You're not concerned with how much money the company is making. You're just concerned with what you need to get done. Is this kind of what this is telling you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This,
Because you have your own tasks that need to be completed separate and apart from the financial person's task.
this looks like an engineering company
Yes,
with
sir.
all these testing, so on and so on. But it still works with other companies. And go back to remind you, the personal assistant, they don't have to even know anything about engineering or anything like that. They are just there to make sure that the general manager and the finance manager are doing their jobs. Yeah? And the personal assistant is also there to make sure they do their job and the managing director is fed whatever information he needs. It's a similar one. Don't look like I pulled it for any reason. Same thing, director and no big thing. Organizations as open systems. Characteristics of open systems. Interaction with external environment through permeable boundaries. An open system model encourages managers to think about the organization life support. This is pointing to relating the managers to the company directly. I think that's kind of where they're going with this one. Um, you always have people who look out for the company and look out for what is happening within the company. People, I would say, people who are close to the top are the easiest people to topple the whole company by bad behavior and bad anything. So it is critical that these people are well recognized. inputs, outputs, and the organization. So you have on the input side capital, labor, raw material, market information. On the output, you have goods, services, profits, waste material. So the organization has all of these technical subsystems, managerial subsystems, boundary spanning subsystems. That's your organization. I hope some of these I can leave them for you to read. And if you fall asleep, please tell me, because I'm reading them.
Ever fall asleep today, sir?
Yeah, that means you have to be awake to know.
Yeah.
Ah, some of these don't fit where I want them to fit, but in time. Organizational effectiveness, time dimension, and organizational effectiveness, meeting organizational objectives and prevailing societal um, expectations in the near future, adapting to environmental demands, maturing and learning in the immediate future, the effectiveness of the organization. See, near future, within about a year, what happens? Intermediate and distant future, 5 years. 5 years is normally the given time for planning or remodeling your organization. It's kind of accepted as that one. I see a lot of company have their 5 year turnaround and still have another 5 years for major. So you have the 10-year plan and you have the 5 year plan. The 5 year plan fits into the 10-year plan, and you get a longer um, chance to organize your company. However, what is happening as we speak? What we speak is these 5 year things are getting thrown out. You know, the table has turned so badly in the last year that people have just given up. People who have been in companies 20 years, 25 years have just given up because it is almost impossible to turn this company around. Friend of mine, I was speaking to a friend of mine on the phone, and she is like second in charge in charge like, of one of these major organizations. And her cry, got a cry, is this company is not going to last another year because everything is locked down now and all the expenses are there. I'll give you an example. Take Grace Kennedy. Grace Kennedy is a strong and powerful organization, very powerful. But something can happen in a year that changes the table completely because it spends so much money that it can actually go out of business if the temperature changes in business. So that's the nature of business right now. Things can just get very different. So here are the terms that are popular: 5 year plan, oops, and hmm, what happened here? I'm sorry. I have to do this over. Give me a second, please. This is where we were, right?
Yes,
Um,
sir. Right, that's
okay. All right. Time dimension. It's okay.
right, that's sir.
Well, we're talking about the 5 year plan and the SWAT, right? Both of them are similar in terms of a time period that you hope is not too long, that you can manage what's happening, and your hope is not too short that things fall apart while you're waiting on things to happen. You know, the 5 year plan is something that over the years we have learned to accept this 5 year change, but with even COVID right now on top of us, it's kind of weird. People don't know what to do. Lot of companies, major companies, are acting strange because they don't know what to do. And whereas before the activities were local, a lot of these companies' activities are international. For example, Bank of Nova Scotia, they don't even want to mention the name Canada in it anymore. You realize the same thing as the Bank of Canada, right?
I still never know.
You never know. Nova Scotia is Canada. So it's the
Okay.
Bank of Canada. But they keep off the Nova Scotia so that they can cream off more money off the top. Anyway, I'm not saying anything about that company, okay? I didn't say it. You need to go find out for yourself. Contingency design, the process of determining the degree of environmental uncertainty. Some of these things I think maybe are a bit too much for what you want, but it's okay. We'll see it. Determining degree and environmental uncertainty. Like an interesting position here. Political, technological, supply chain, um, project, product or service. All those things are on this slide. Um, too much to talk about. Mechanistic organization, organic organization. I hope you read them when you get to them. I'm not going to dwell on them too long. No, 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 no. Not going back in here. Okay. Span of control. Wide span of control. This is a very common thing in this country, Jamaica, right now, where you have one manager and he has 10 sub managers reporting to him. And if he should get sick, God forbid, it will be a major crisis. Um, even the company usually set up that kind of way with a wide span of control. Alternatively, a narrow span of control, you have one big head and two smaller heads, and then below those you have a couple more smaller heads. So you spread out the company, but not under one person as this figure is showing you. I will put my neck on the block and say that the narrow span of control works better, but when the
What's
wide
that?
span of control goes up there in a minute, then there are too many people in the business and you get problems when you have too many people, unless you completely write out the organization. Yeah. Go ahead with the question.
Sir, what will make a company choose a wide span of control over a narrow span of control? What it boil down
Because
to the structure or preference? What it boil down to?
the wide span of control puts more people in the business to do the job, so the job gets done. Narrow span of control, you don't get the job done that well unless it's a very small company. Um, I don't even know these companies out there. Give me a company with a big. Let's use the same Bank of Nova Scotia, same BNS. BNS right now is not even taking in um, people for business, and yet the organization is so big. They don't do any money transaction anymore, and yet so big. And you have to ask yourself why. Is it more effective or what? I don't see how it could be, but you're spending the money in the right direction, so why not?
So you may have a comment.
Sorry?
Sir? Yeah, sir.
What was
May I say is I think what did I hear me?
uh, go on,
And
go
I tell you
on?
what I think about wide span of control. So like if you have
Yeah.
multiple if you have a business with multiple branches, like say for example, one loan agency and them have 5 different branches. One at Crossroad, one at Halfway, one at Papine, and one at Constant Spring. So you have one the main you have the CEO or the owner for the company itself, but every branch have to have a major head and that would consists of the white span of control. So every branch should have a general manager. If you get what I'm saying. So you have 5 general managers and then
Not
CEO.
exactly. Not. I think this is more speaking about when you have one person with 5 or 10 people below them. Not necessarily when you have 5 different people and then 4 different people. You see, if you split it up like that, these 5 people have 5 areas, and the next 5 people have 5 areas. Then each person not gonna get as overloaded. In this situation, when you have
Yeah.
one person and that person have 10 people below them, they can do nothing more than just what that job is. They can't get anything much more done. Well, some people like it that way, but for some people it can't work that way.
Sure, so with
Depends
the white span of control that apply to an example of a company.
in this.
So that made me think, I don't really get it.
I try
Sir,
to figure.
Would Grace Kennedy use that, sir?
They would use the wide span of control.
Uh,
It's not to say that a person doesn't have a wide control, a wide thing to be. It's just that if you put too much on one person, then that person can get overloaded. So the bigger company with more people to spend might be better off. That depends on your company. It's difficult to sit outside of a company and say you should be doing this or you should be doing that, because it all depends on the organization. and how you run
Okay,
it.
so a big business have wide span and a small business have narrow span. That's
I
it.
wouldn't break it down like that still. You know.
So
Narrow
how you
and
wanna
wide.
break it down?
It all depends. You can have a narrow span control over a wide era, company era.
All right, sir.
It's just how things operate. It's just how they do it. But the actual activity might change from what you see the graph showing you. Confused?
So a little bit. When I do some reading. So, okay.
Okay. Well, this is talking about balance, which is same place where we're coming from. Because when you have too many people in line, so you have problem with the centralization or decentralization. When you have that, you can lose control on the line of traffic. When you don't have this problem, you don't have to balance. You can have a lot of workers, but you don't have to balance. Everybody knows what they are doing. Fine. But this is not organizing business for your organization. If you see what I mean. It's not really about organizing because you can take either control system and organize based on that. That's how that goes. But it's when you put everything together. That's why managing organizations is so, what the word you use is so complex because you can look at the same thing and apply them in two different ways. I use one organization in a centralized way and the other one in a decentralized way. Okay. Delegation, assigning various degrees of decision making authority to lower level employees. Um, Advantages, frees up managerial time. You see what's happening here? Serves as training and development tool for lower level managers, increases subordinates' commitment. What you see going on here is a lot of work in organizing the company. Sometimes the organization of the company comes directly from the major organization and not from lower down. Even the managers are very decisive in what they are allowed to do at this level. And then you have people who are at the top level of the company who know exactly what they want the committee to do. Delegation continuum from low to high degree of delegation. Delegation, when you organize your company and you delegate special people or you set up special people in charge of special things, then fine. And this delegation is so many spoils are in that because you have individuals who are doing wrong and you have a few individuals who are doing right. It all depends on the organization and how it goes. Barriers to delegation. Belief that only you can do the job right. Especially when you have a self-made organization, you can have problems. You believe that only you can do the job right, and you don't give anybody else a chance, and you are overloaded, but you would rather work through the night, so you have problems. Um, Lack of confidence and trust in lower level staff, that's a major headache. If you don't have people who you trust, that's a problem. No, that problem is mixed with another problem, and that I forgot what I was gonna say, but has to do with barriers. Forget it. Fear of being called lazy, vague job definition or description, fear of compensation from those below, competition, sorry, reluctance to take risks that depends on others, lack of early warning controls, poor example of bosses who do not delegate. Okay. Changing the shape of organization, characteristics of new organization, fewer organizational layers, more terms, teams, sorry, smallness within bigness. One of the things that we are doing now is to have smaller organizations. Smaller meaning inside you might have a group of 10 people, one supervisor, and that's it. Now, you have several of those groups, so the individual groups are running tighter ships because they have their teams organized. Not when you have one kind of manager and he has 50 people below him, doesn't do any management, he tells the managers what to do. That's what they used to do. See? New organizational configuration, hourglass, 3 layer with constricted middle. You have better have a picture there somewhere. Okay. So here is the hourglass over on this side. Hourglass. Then the middle one is the cluster, and then the virtual organization. Traditional pyramid is how all of this is organized. It's a cute phrase in there, the social glue that binds the organizations together. Mm, okay. I'm leaving some other reading for you. Orientation, storytelling. Organizational socialism process. Organizational socialism process of transforming outside into accepted insiders. Hmm. Orientations, programs familiarize new employees with the organizational history, culture, competitive realities, compassion, and compensation, and benefits, and then storytelling, citations of heroic or inspiring deeds provide social roadmaps for new employees. I hate to say this, but I have never been in a company that in Jamaica, I must say, that has gone through something as detailed as this to help the individual, the new person, to get familiarized with the company so quickly. I see just from this chart what they're trying to achieve, but this is not by anything. I don't know if it works. Don't know if it works because there are a lot of things that are going on inside an organization that may not fit this model. I'll mention one. That one is people in your organization who try to organize the company to suit their personal needs, their personal gain. If somebody comes in with a different system from a different source, it might not work. I'm saying that. So let's see. Organizational cultures. Um, these are symptoms of a weak one, inward focus, moral problems, fragmentation, inconsistency, ingrown subculture, warfare among subcultures, and subculturism, elitism. Why do I feel that they're talking about my era? Yeah, because a lot of what they're saying here come from the old um, management structure. Uh, the newer management structure, some of it fits more exactly to what you want people to do for your benefit. But still, nowadays there are still people who have to look out for the company in the organization. This is just a summary, some terms to understand. Let me see if there's any. Mechanistic, organic, departmentalization, span of control, hourglass, organization, organization. It's kind of straightforward there, but um, these are just some terms to understand. Ethics. $5.53. Can that be right?
Sir, can you go back on the next slide 1 minute, please?
And what?
Previous slide. The previous slide
Previous.
before this one. Yeah.
It's just a summary with the terms that you need to understand.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Uh, let me see how much I can take from the next class. Uh, All right. Let's see what this is about. Green management and sustainability. Sustainability. Green management, talking about recycling, carbon footprints, greenhouse energy, all of these things. Green power, renewable energy. Um, the plunge that the world took in one direction, the green energy direction, is still hanging on to us. I don't know whether or not it's making any sense. I don't know if there's any life left in the earth. Yes, there's life left. But we're changing everything. I don't even hear people talking so much about green management and sustainability anymore, right? We're talking about virus now, and that's an area that's as important. Never before have we seen a virus to this level. Many of us would never have thought of a virus of this level. So it's new to us. So it's kind of putting green management in the background for the time being. So let's see what goes on. How organizations go green? You have the legal approach, which is called the light green approach. Firms simply do what is legally required by obeying the law's rules. Um, Governments internationally have agreed with us moving towards the green light approach and have taken up the directions. As I said, the companies are being put on the side right now. Everybody looking towards what is going on with this virus problem. So let's see what happened. There's a market approach, stakeholder approach. Stakeholder have a vested interest. They don't seem to mind very much if you lose money, as long as it's to a stakeholder kind of approach or activist. So you know you're doing well for the organization, even if you're losing money. So that's how that works. Green approach, high activist approach is dark green. The low legal approach is light green. And they were into it. They were really into green this and green that. But COVID has stamped authority on the land and changed things quite a bit. People don't talk about green so much. People talk about COVID. Ethics. What is ethics? The moral principles governing the influences conduct. That's what it is. So, moral principles, conduct, branch of knowledge concerned with moral principles. Synopsis. Moral code, morals, moralysis, values, right, wrong, principles, behavior, value systems, virtues, dictates. The main thing with ethics is that it shows the world that you care. And when you show the world that you care, then they go easier on you if you have to. Basic concepts and fundamental principles of decent human conduct, which is where being a decent company, then people will be decent when they're spending their money with you. That's really what it's about. It includes study of universal values such as the essential quality of all men, women, human or natural right, obedience to the law of the land, concern for health and safety, and increasingly also for the natural environment. So also morality we have to take a look at. Ethical problems in the workplace, lying to the supervisor. You know, this country, Jamaica, lying, I'm not going to say is so much a part of us. The thing with lying, I believe, is that Jamaicans don't know how to lie. That's the problem. Because when Americans need to tell you a lie, no microscope can go through that lie. Well thought out and perfectly executed. So, however, lying, if you are educated, you tell lies easier if you understand the whole thing. So, lying to your supervisor is a big problem. Lying on reports or falsifying records, stealing and theft, uh, sexual harassment, abusing drugs and alcohol, conflict of interest. And then comes Jamaica. I'll leave that one. This one is talking about sexual harassment. Okay. These Monroe, Parchment, Brown, and Grant, these people are into some kind of war. Perceived as the most corrupt country in the Western Hemisphere. This is Jamaica. Mexico. Are you familiar with that place, Mexico? Mexico is we are what 3.1, close to bottom, but Mexico would be. Huh? I can't even find it right, But I think Jamaica was 3.1 the last time I looked, and Mexico would have been about 3.5 or so. So we are out there, but we're not the worst. And I was listening to the political speeches, and it seemed to me that a lot of them have issues. A lot of political people have issues, and they don't know what the issues are. So, life. See, 3.1 is where Jamaica scored out of 10. But we are surviving. And COVID has managed to take all of that away from us. It will come back, don't worry.
Let me see.
Hmm?
I was going to wonder. I was going to say, for the moment,
Yeah? For the moment, what?
Sir, what the date of this article? It's recent something.
No, a couple of years.
Oh, okay.
2008.
Definitely